Hi, I'm Erin from the Witch of Saturn here with Jay of Iridescent Tarot. This is Two of Mom's Deck Connectors Club, and this is our first Oracle edition where we worked with the Death Doula Oracle.
This was different.
Uh, yeah, I don't know if different is the right word, but it was something. Like, I feel like we have to start the episode by saying, like, raise your hand if you've ever been personally victimized by the Death Doula.
Yes.
Like, holy shit, I'm tired. It's been rough these 5 days.
It's a week. That's a week.
Yeah, it's been a week.
I mean, this deck don't play around.
No, there's no chill. None.
There's no chill. No. It has like the same level of chill as Mary L, but like in masculine form.
Yes. And I don't know, more confrontational or triggering. Like this deck, in my experience of working with it, really hit some of my triggers. And I do kind of feel like that we should maybe have a trigger warning for some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about in this episode. Just because, like,
Trigger warning. Okay. For
yeah,
what topics? Let's get that started.
sexual abuse.
Okay.
I think it needs a trigger warning for that. Um, I don't know. I guess we'll see.
You're like, whatever comes up, just be forewarned.
Yeah, if you know about yourself that you have some things that like you can't bring in to, your space, um, then proceed with caution and or like maybe this isn't the episode to be. This is definitely not the deck for going. I don't know. Maybe it is.
Nope. Ooh,
It is.
that's heavy. That's heavy.
Yeah, it was definitely heavy. And I felt like from the jump, my interview with this deck had in the I we scaled the interview back, right? So it was just three cards. It was you, me, us together.
Yes.
Yes. And somehow I ended up with four cards because I included this happens to me all the time. Um, I included the bottom of the deck because it just I would have to let me see if I can pull the cards because it was just I think a very important player in the interview. But so the card that the deck chose for itself was Torpid,
Okay.
which I had to look up. There's a lot of that with me in this deck. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I
That's
don't
this card here.
I don't have that in yes. I don't have this word in my daily vernacular. And I need
I
uh,
don't know what this word means.
yeah, it means like slow to grow in a state of hibernation or I have to look it up. What's the
I feel like the slow to grow thing is it is really shown well through this image.
yes, sluggish and functioning or acting, having lost motion or the power of exertion or feeling, exhibiting or characterized by torpor.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot. A state of like dormancy could be torpid.
Okay.
And then the us together was which was this card and the bottom of the deck were these. So,
Interesting.
right?
Yes.
It was interesting. But then the card that it chose for me was unprocessed. And
Oh
I
boy.
immediately felt insulted.
You should.
I was like, what? Like, okay, like not cool. But
That's when you slowly put the deck away and you're like, oh, okay. You drive home. It's like after you hit a big old pothole, you drive home in silence with your just like lips pursed and you're like, oh,
yeah, it was just like, I don't know. I felt offended. I was
yeah.
And do you know how many times I pulled this card this week?
As many times as it takes for you to process the message that it's trying to tell you, apparently.
Five.
Oh my God. Every
Five
day?
different spreads. No, because I ended up doing more than one more than I should have with this deck, which is also interesting. I realized that this morning. I'm like, wait, why, how do I have this many days in here, this many spreads? Like, what, wait, what? And oh wait, maybe it was just four. But nonetheless, so it was just like stalker card. Um my unprocessed stalker card.
Right.
So I just feel like from the jump, from the interview, I was like triggered by the card because I just felt like, oh, what is this card saying that I'm not like processing my shit? Which I guess it was just, but it was true because this week brought up a lot of unprocessed stuff for me. So it was accurate, but it did, you know, when somebody says something to you and you're mad about it, but it's because it's true.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, it was that.
Yeah.
Like that was, you know, that was the vibe. What was your
Okay.
interview like?
This was my interview spread.
Oh, there we go. The sun. Now what you actually said makes sense.
Yes. Okay. So I pulled the sun as the deck, and I felt like this was the deck playing possum. It's like, oh, things are going to be lovely. You're going to love me. We're going to be great together.
No, it's gonna like burn you to a crisp.
Crispy. And then the deck said that I was beauty and death. And I was like, ooh, I don't like the sounds of that. Like what am I supposed to take from that in the me position? What is the intention of that card?
Yeah, I get it. I completely understand the like, wait, what am I supposed to be getting from this? Is
Yes.
part of the cool problem with this deck,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I guess like after I thought about it, I was like, I guess maybe it's saying like every day you're dying 1,000 little deaths and like trying to learn to appreciate that. I don't know. And
Yeah,
then
or some kind of
together,
like transformation, right?
yeah, yeah. And then together we have embodiment, which I love the word embodiment. And I was like, okay, I can work with that. It's exactly what I'm looking for, trying to settle into the now because that's all we have, that kind of thing. But truly, I had like the beginnings of that quizzical feeling of just question marks starting to appear within
But
my interview.
huh,
Yes.
yeah, uh-huh. And also I have that with the card itself. Like, what am I looking at here? Right? In embodiment. Like, what is that? I have a
So I have commentary on that because if you want to know what you're looking at in this card, which what you can kind of see here is like maybe a tulip,
yeah, I see that. That's all like that. I got that. I got the flower.
right? Well, I think that the deck has three, there may be more, but at least three distinct categories of photograph types. The
Oh,
embodiment card is one of them, where look at remothering,
yes.
regeneration,
Yeah, and then there's
torpid,
yep, that
the
one.
void.
Void.
To me, these all have, they feature that same flat lay of a flower. And this gives me pause and also gives me struggle because,
There's one in Greece too.
like, how are you supposed to interpret the difference in these two images? Just based on the image alone, you can't, if you ask
Yeah.
me.
And I mean, that's something that with the guidebook, I kind of wish that there was some kind of explanation of what is actually in the photographs. It would help me to wrap my brain around it.
The next type of photo is the sun card.
Yeah.
And to me, in my brain, I categorize this as like scanner photos. Like, you know, when your
Yeah.
scanner goes down and you try to take it, people like put their butts on the scanner.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally I get it.
That's category two.
Okay. I like this. I'm really enjoying your categories.
Okay. Category three is like,
Oh,
um,
this could be scanner.
that's scanner.
Yeah.
Category three are celebration bubbles. I don't, it's not the right word, but like it's like bright,
It
more
is.
celebratory, but still ominous and scary.
Listen, celebration bubbles, it is. That name is
Scary celebration bubbles. Okay. Those are my three categories I was able to identify.
there's also like these nature scenes, right? That could definitely be a category.
Yeah.
And there's like red, like crushed rock, because like the obsession is very much
That's
like
celebration bubbles.
unprocessed celebration bubbles.
Yeah, those are scary celebration bubbles. It's
I
in
wish
there.
I knew this on day one because it could have changed everything for me. It's just scary celebration bubbles.
That's all. No big deal.
Okay. And then there's also like chain link fencing, definitely a category.
In a couple of them, yes.
Yes, that could be a category. Yeah, like then there's these that are kind of the same, like this with the stringy. What are these?
It's like I haven't watched the show in many years, but like it's giving Dexter vibes. It's like serial killer in a basement. I don't know. It's didn't I say that this kind of reminds me of like if you were to look at the Somnia Tarot and then like look at the ground around the photo, like all the
Yes.
stuff that went into taking those pictures, it's like that's what these show.
Yeah, it's like the after party of the Somnia.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like what's the
The
glitter
next
on the
day.
ground. Yeah.
Yeah, when the janitor has to clean up, like this is what,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. This is
The bartender
Somnia's mess.
bring this up after Somnia got shit faced.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
We're really selling this deck. So, all right, the next day. The next day, I tried to do the question that we had settled on from the interview with the creator.
One of the things that we both did in preparation for this week was we watched the tarot map, so Kasha from Tarot Map's interview with the creator of this oracle deck,
Chris Williams,
Chris Williams.
who goes
And
by Theodore Saint, as you know, like that's what it says on the deck who it's created by.
and so one of the things that we like to do is if the creator has spread positions in the guidebook or they just pose questions in an interview or something that are thought provoking, we like to try to use those. So the two questions that he had mentioned in the interview are what would be helpful for me to live in alignment with my deeper self? And how can I experience myself in a more enjoyable way? Those were the two questions that he asked.
So you picked like a card for each of those questions, right?
I did. Yep.
I intended to do that and it went awry because I ended up with three cards. And I can't remember if I remembered him saying he pulls three cards. And so I decided to do that, or if one is the bottom of the deck, or if one kind of like flew out and felt like it needed to be a part of it. I'm not sure what happened, but it's too long ago for me to remember. But I ended up with three cards, which were, can you pull them out for me?
Sure.
Okay, so these were the three cards that I pulled for that. Thrombosis, which again I had to look up, surrender, and vision. And this really gave me the huhs. Like I was like, huh, what?
Wait, which question did you ask? The first one or the second one?
An amalgam of them. I
Got
was
it.
thinking like reading both of them in my head while shuffling, and
Okay.
that somehow ended up with three cards and felt like I didn't know what I was looking at, and I was having a real like, what the fuck moment.
Can I before you move on, can I just tell you so I've had so many question marks, but you know how sometimes it's easier to interpret somebody else's spread? Can I just tell you what I see right
Yes,
here?
please do.
Okay. So if the question is an amalgamation of what's helpful to live in alignment / how can I experience more myself in a more enjoyable way, I've got thrombosis here, which is talking about clots, stagnation, things being stuck in place, things being like clustered together, grouped together. You've got surrender. So you've got your clotting and then you're surrendering to that, like we've been stuck here. I need to surrender to that. And then vision of like, okay, once you surrender to it, what do you envision as the thing that you're heading towards? What's the next step after that? Like you can surrender into something, but then like, where do you go from there? What are you looking at next?
Yeah, I totally get like I got to a place where I was like, oh, okay, there's something that's stuck or blocked that I need to release, let go of, surrender to in order to like have things become more clear, right? More clarity in my vision of how to move forward or where to go from here. Like
Yep.
I definitely think your interpretation is accurate and I got to that place, but the way that I got to it was through pulling more cards where I
Oh
was
God.
well, I was like, I don't really understand this. This isn't like landing with me initially. And I think that it was just like that I kind of have this reaction to the deck, or especially towards the beginning of the week, where like I was just like, it was taking me, I was like guarded against it or something. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Where I would just pull it and be like, what the fuck does this mean? Like I was
Yep.
just having kind of like, I don't really like this deck.
An attitude problem.
Yes, yeah, totally. It's an attitude problem. And so I was like, you know what? I need to clarify this and make sure that like what I'm thinking it means is what it means. And I need to do that with a deck that I know is going to not make me feel like this, that is going to make me feel good. Like I can't layer Somnia on top of this because it could be too
Yeah.
harsh. I need something like Majestic Earth. And so I pulled 3 cards from Majestic Earth to see it goes the Hermit first, then Steward of Water, and then Ten of Trees. And I was like, oh, holy shit, these look great together, first of all, because I did not expect that. And
Yeah.
they are really mirroring each other, right?
Yeah, we've got the gray on gray, we've
Yeah.
got the green on green, and then we've got like this little amalgamation of colors and a variation of colors here.
Yes. So I was like, ooh, okay, this is something. Like, what are we working with here? You know? And this helped me to kind of clarify the meaning. But what I took from this was also this message that I feel like I've been getting in my readings in general lately, which is this urge or push or direction towards spending more time in meditation. And
Okay.
so what I decided to do at this point, this was like a nighttime reading, my kids were asleep, and I don't know, I was like feeling a certain type of way. And I was like, kind of like, fine, I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to lay in a yin yoga pose, which is very passive style of yoga that you can hold the poses for a long period of time. And I'm going to meditate on these cards. And what I found, I had a crazy experience. It was like I do a lot of visualization. So I was literally envisioning the images on Death Doula and kind of like weaving in the images from Majestic Earth. But it was like wild. I had a very cathartic, like emotional release, kind of healing experience by doing this. And I felt like I understood the way that the deck is maybe meant to be or can be used in a different way. Because in the guidebook, there are all of these like spiritual practices, right? Like that's the meat of the guidebook. It's like the card definitions are like this much of it. And then that
Yes.
much of it is like, see this type of practice, see this type of practice, right? And there's like meditations in there and just all different, I don't know, spiritual, uh, it's like a workbook.
Let's just say for the sun, you have your definition of what the card means, but then at the bottom it says see sun practices and ritual, page 51. So then you go to 51. This, and I said, this reminds me of Shanna. Shanna posted like these images on her Instagram for Little Bird, and it's like, look at the top right corner. And then you look and it's like, look under the bird's feet. And then you look and then it's like, Little Bird's coming back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it just reminds me of that. But
Treasure
so
hunt.
then
It's like it's a treasure hunt. The
it's a
guidebook.
treasure hunt. Yeah. So then you've got your sun practice and ritual. Choose one of the following: one, two, three, four. So there's a bunch of different things that you can actually do to work with the card.
Yes, there's exercises, rituals, meditations. There's just different like kind of spiritual practices that you can do and apply to your work with the deck. And by meditating on the actual image of the card, like that surrender card with like that green kind of like growth and moss, like I was envisioning that kind of like take me over, and the thrombosis with the chain link fence, like pulling that down, like kind of removing and stripping back this. Like I literally thought about it, like those fences that they have in front of stores in the city that pull down the metal grate,
Yes.
like that, being able to do that with myself, like telling myself I was safe enough to remove that guarding that I have. And this reading in particular, like, is what really brought up a lot of stuff I was able to like reparent, and it felt very like healing, also with like healing something in me about the masculine, because I have some hangups about masculinity or men in general that have always affected my relationships, because I have had so many experiences where like you can't trust, just like women can't trust all men. It's just a fact of life. Like what's the percentage of women who have been the victim of sexual assault or put in a situation with men where they felt unsafe, or even just like the inability of a woman to take a walk by yourself without thinking like, do I need to have mace with me? Like something could happen, right? Like just this kind of state of conditioned um, fear and
Yeah.
lack of safety, right? That's something that's like I have unprocessed shit with that. And so that was kind of coming up, but in a way that like made me feel very safe to do so. And it's kind of like envisioning in that vision card where you can see, if you really look at that there is like I think like a woman there, right? You see her face somewhere?
I thought it was a man.
Well, a person.
Oh yeah, you know what? It could be a woman. Yeah. Yep. Okay. It's definitely a person in there.
There's definitely a person in there, like underneath all of that. And so like that really came through for me in like peeling back all of those things to get to like that person, or even like that child. Like I was doing some inner child work where I was envisioning myself at that age, and like what would I say to myself then, like it wasn't your fault, you're safe now. Like just like if I were to say to like my children, my girls now, like how would I as a parent be to them if they experienced something like that? And I was envisioning doing that for my young self, and it was like very emotional but very powerful and very healing. Like it wasn't, I always say with yoga that yoga meets you where you're at. And so you'll only go as deep as like you're ready to go. And it did feel like that. Like I was ready for this. Like at first it didn't. At first I was like, what the fuck is this deck doing to me? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like it's triggering me, and I don't really like I had the attitude with it. But like this experience, I felt like, oh wow, like I'm really glad that I was able to process some of that stuff. And like maybe this is more like how this deck is supposed to be used, like as a meditation tool, or like not just, I don't know, it ain't like it other decks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think that's where I struggled with this too, is that I feel like I've seen it around so often, and I think I just assumed that people were using it as any old all-rounder oracle deck, and I
Yeah.
don't think that for me, and it sounds like not for you, that it's used that way.
No, it is not. Like this is like a very particular type of work. And I do think that it's very honest about that. Like it's called the Death Doula Oracle. And Chris Williams is a death doula, like does this work. So this is really like to do, like process your shit so that you can prepare to leave your body someday. Like it's not meant to be a light, like, oh, look at these cool keywords by this, interesting photographic art. Like it's not that.
Yes. Yes.
It's just not. So it was intense, but at this point, I felt like, okay, I see you, Death Doula. Like, I was kind of like, at the end of it, I was like, all right, let's see what tomorrow, if this is like a shift in my relationship with this deck, like let me see what tomorrow brings. And then my next day, I went back to trying to do the original questions again because I had brought in tarot to this one. And I was like, the rules of deck connectors was that day two was like just with the Oracle deck. So I doubled back and did that and felt like I got a reading with just Death Doula that was like very easy to understand, very, very nice, pleasant, let's say.
The sun.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we've turned a corner. Here we are. And then no, no, that's not what happened.
What happened next?
So pull
Was
this.
it this?
Yeah, it was that. And I paired this with this day, it was with Scarab and Dahlia. So then I get Scarab, I finally opened Scarab and Dahlia, which I hadn't done because it was so pretty in its wrapping paper. Just let it sit so I could look at it for a while.
Yep.
I finally opened it that day and I was like, oh, I'm going to pair this with Death Doula. This is going to look great. Like not knowing that you did the same exact thing, which I thought
That's
was
okay.
hilarious. Um, I pulled this spread and I was like, oh, are you fucking kidding me with this? Like, look at this. It's sexuality, positioning, pleasure. I sent you a picture of it. I'm like, this is what I'm talking about with this deck. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I can't even show this. Like, I felt so vulnerable. Like, I'm like, is this about my sex life? Like, what? I just,
I know. I was even surprised because, like, I feel like we share a lot of our spreads, but there's like a handful that, like, we just kind of keep to ourselves. And when this came through my text messages, I was like, damn.
yeah, I almost didn't send it to you, but it was because, like, I had had one like this, similar to this with Somnia, like before Deck Connectors Club, back when I first, got Death Doula and was playing with it. And like that one, I told you about, but I didn't show it to you. I was just like, this deck makes me feel like very uncomfortable and like
Yeah.
vulnerable. And then, but because this came up again and during Deck Connectors Club, I was just like, here it is.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
Lay it all on the table.
Yeah, and I mean, even like what it's paired with, the Hanged Man, all I can think about is the Hanged Man in Lacrimosa, where it's like this man's torso with like cloth like covering him, where it's kind of like this, it almost feels tongue in cheek, like the Hanged
Yeah.
Man, right? And then there's the moon, which could totally be like a butt, right?
Yep.
And then the
Yep.
lovers, like I'm like, oh, like fuck, like this spread is killing me. And
Yep.
what it ended up kind of bringing up for me was because then I was like, well, is it a like very on the nose, on the surface, like is it about my sex life, or is it about my sexual abuse, or is it about, and I just think like the sexuality card in general, when it shows up for me, I'm kind of like, because do I need that in a deck? Like, I don't know. It does kind of make me uncomfortable, and I guess I have to look at that because like I don't fully understand why it's there, like why it needs to be a part of this deck, but I guess it does because, we have a lot of, sex is part of life and like there's a lot of reckoning that can need to happen with that before you die. But for me, it was just like very, it was triggering. And what I kind of came to with this spread in particular, which is why I did decide to like share it, because part of me was like, I'm just going to skip this and I'm not going to
Yeah.
show it to, people on YouTube. But
Yeah.
it kind of, what it brought up for me was really like this issue that I've been having since I became a mother, where, my oldest daughter's 7 now, but literally from 2018 when I got pregnant with her until the beginning of this year, I was either pregnant or breastfeeding. And my relationship with my body has been like, feels very far removed from who the relationship I had with my body before I became a, right? Like,
Yeah.
body has like grown people and birthed them into the world and fed them for
Yep.
years and just like and changed. It is doesn't look anything like it used to, you know, like, and I just feel like also I'm in perimenopause, so I've got like weird hormone stuff going on, and I just like don't really feel the same connection that I did to myself as a sexual being that I used to when I was in my 20s or 30s. And I kind of feel like that's what this was about, where it's,
Ah,
this like the hanged man is this pause. Like I'm just not in a space of like feeling like that right now. And
maybe, yeah, maybe this was the last 7 years.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
then the moon can very much be the mother. And if you look at this moon card in Scarabindalia, which is just so beautiful, she's like got those dogs harnessed, right?
Yep.
Like there's been like, it reminds me of like taking your power back, right?
Yeah, they're on a short leash.
Like a reclamation, right, of something to kind of take hold, take the reins of something
Yes.
there. And the positioning to me is like very much like a repositioning, right? Like the view has to shift or change, or like what's the lens that we're looking at something through? Does that make sense?
Yes.
And just like then the lovers and pleasure is like this reunion with the ability to, you know, feel that you deserve to have pleasure or that it's okay, or, a kind of merging with that experience. I don't know. So the lovers, right, is this like coming together. This actually in the guidebook for this deck, this card is about encountering a love so powerful that it feels like it has always been a part of you. There is an immediate and overwhelming feeling of connection to this person or thing. It feels meant to be. Although this love is very often about another person, it doesn't have to be. It could be a place, a vocation, an activity. A dancer or artist will feel this way about their art. It's a calling that helps you feel whole and complete. And that like really spoke to me about, kind of this like reclaiming a part of myself,
Yeah. Yeah.
a woman versus a mother, right?
Yes. Kind of like a return home, a coming home, a making whole of what used to be.
Yes. Yeah. Or just like that connection to like the fact that, like, yes, my body has been doing this one thing, but it doesn't mean that it still isn't like that. I'm not still a sexual being, even though I'm in my 40s or whatever now. Like, I don't know. It's just that's kind of how I ended up reading it. And I thought it was important to talk about because I think that that's an experience that a lot of women go through. Um, Not that men can't go through it too, but I think just, as we age and the hormones that we experience through going through menopause and, the process of the physicality of giving birth and motherhood is just, even if you haven't had a baby as a woman, once you hit perimenopause, like physiologically you change and your body changes. You hold weight in places that you didn't. And there's this kind of like reckoning that has to happen about that, about our bodies and how we experience ourselves. And so this really brought that up for me. But again, it was like, oh, this is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like this is a lot for like 1 week. Like, but like here we go. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Yeah. These
It was
are some heavy hitter topics that it's throwing at you.
yeah, have definitely like for me, this deck is just like don't pull this out lightly. And I think that that's kind of a mistake that I made with it was just like, all right, well, here we go. Let's throw some cards down,
Yeah. Yeah.
and not being fully like prepped for what I was going to receive. It reminded me very much of like grandma, right? Where I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
didn't expect this.
Good old grandma deck. Wow.
I know it's a lot.
Thank you for sharing that. That was very vulnerable, and it also makes me look at the deck differently. Like, I think ultimately I'm not going to end up keeping it, but I can see how you would, how somebody else would, why this is an important deck to be out in the world to exist in the first place.
Yeah, that's so funny because I was like, I'm pretty sure you weren't going to keep it. And like, I'm pretty sure I am, even
Yeah.
though I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, do I need this in a deck? But I do think that it is it's different and I like that.
It's just so heavy and so specific.
Yeah.
And like you said, you can't just throw down, like, you're not, oh, what's my energy for the day? And you throw down one of these and you're like, oh, shit. Like, mm-mm.
Yes, totally. And that's kind of like what, this spread in particular kind of took me aback,
Yeah. Yes.
you know, in that way. But in the end, I think it, came up for a reason. It was certainly
Whew.
unprocessed. Like the deck was not lying about something
Yeah.
that
It called you out.
totally called me out.
Yeah, it really did. Oh, so you're gonna keep it?
Well, I think so. Let's keep going, and then I'll tell you why.
Okay. All right. See, the thing is with mine, it feels very surface level compared to yours because I think that you were able to really get to that next deeper level with it. Whereas I would throw down the cards and have a lot of question marks, which really made me question myself. I'm like, am I just not deep enough? Like, like, am I not willing to go there with this deck? Like, am I just like have these walls up where I'm like unwilling to accept the things that it's throwing at me?
Yeah, but I don't think so because you did have a deep experience with this deck at the end.
At the end, my last spread. So let's
Yeah.
skip down to that and talk about that. So prior to Deck Connectors Club, I would use this book, and I basically would just go through page by page once a day. I would read the entry and then pull a spread based on that entry. And so I would pull a few of these per week. But since we started Deck Connectors Club, I've really limited its use to in Deck Connectors Club, and so I use it once a week now. And the page that I got this week on Death Doula Week is death.
Wild.
Love it, right? So this entry talks about how death is the opposite of time. Basically, it um the main focus of this entry was about how in death nothing truly dies. And I know we've heard that before, and in the moment when you're grieving, that feels kind of trite. Like, oh, like you're almost like, shut the hell up because the thing that I love is gone, right?
Like easy for you to say.
Yes, yes. And in this, it really goes down to the cellular level where it's talking about what dies. Nothing of the person dies in the sense that the constituent parts are totally blasted from all existence. What dies is merely the identity, the identification of a collection of parts we call the person. That it falls into constituent parts of water and chemicals. And so after I read that, I said, I'm going to get slapped in the face by good old grandma.
Which is so funny because I have literally had the thought about, like Death Doula kind of giving me that same energy. And I thought, not even I compare these two. Like you would have to be nuts to be like, let's pull something from Death Doula and then bring out good old grandma. Like,
Well, you know where my thought process went? It was like, we're talking about death doula, we're talking about death. Who's more ready to talk about that than somebody who's been on this earth for a handful of decades and is ready? Like, I've
yeah,
interacted with many people that are in their advanced age that you get to this point where you're just like, okay, well, like if the common sentiment is like, if God takes me, I'm ready, right? Like,
yeah, there's like a level of acceptance that you do have to get to as you age, knowing that
yes,
there's, nobody's getting out of here alive. There's an expiration
yes.
date, and we just don't know when it is.
Yes. And I felt like good old grandma, or the real name of this deck, good great grandmother's Fated Frontier Oracle.
I mean, poor Lennox, she's probably like, these two with their nicknames for my decks.
Renaming my damn decks. Like, she puts all this thought and effort into all of it. And we're like, good old grandma and the dog bone oracle.
Okay.
But I felt like
Sorry,
good old
really.
grandma was really well equipped for this task. And so what I thought was breaking point. And I was like, okay, I see that there's something here that needs to be immediately addressed. What is it? And then I got connect with the dead. And I felt like this was my ancestors being like, will you finally connect with us and make an offering? Damn it. God damn it.
So
We're sick of sending you discount decks and not getting anything in return.
I think we have to tell the story that, so this goes back to like when I got Majestic Earth and I had said, like, specifically pointedly said to my guides and ancestors, like, look, I really want this deck. And I think it's gonna change the way that I read and the way that I can connect with my intuition. And like, please help me find it, but make it cheap so that I know it's you. And when it actually happened, I was like shook, could not believe it. I'm like, oh my God, this is really happening. And then ever since we have had this inside joke where if we want a deck, we're like, but I want this deck, but at $30, please, ancestors. And we like laugh about it because that's just the twisted kind of sense of humor that we have. We're not making light of ancestor work. It's just like, a funny thing that we say now. And so yeah, I was like, oh, they've given you a lot of decks and they are not happy that you're not
Yeah, because I
trying it
like,
back.
I don't necessarily identify as a witch. Like, I do read cards, but like, I don't, that's not, I can't say that I claim that title. So, like, the thought of ancestor work specifically to me isn't something that I ever, like, A, have done, or B, have experience and know a lot about. But I just felt like the ancestors were saying to me, like, get your shit together and give us a little treatsy.
Yeah, we want some chocolate.
Yeah. So I did. I I pulled the spread. I did my first ancestor. What would you even call that? Just like offering, I guess.
Offering. Yeah.
I kind of like meditated on the people in my family who have come before and tried to do just like a little gratefulness exercise in my mind. And then actually what happened immediately after this was Antique Anatomy arrived in the mail. And I had purchased that kind of on a whim because I managed to snag a copy of the Anatomy of Healing deck, and those two, they are begging to be with each other. Let me just pull them really quick. I've never seen one from a different creator that looks so good
Yes. Looks
together.
so
So I scored this at a discount. Thank you, ancestors. And I was like, this deck has to come. So I after this, after this reading, this arrived in the mail. I'm like, okay, I'm going to pull one card from each. And I just felt like these things happening one right after the other of breaking point, needing to connect with the dead, doing this ancestral work in between, and then pulling the Knight of Cups with stomach digesting life. I won't get too into the weeds of it or anything, but I just felt like this had a really poignant message for me where I was like, I can finally kind of see that connection with my ancestors coming through for the first time in the cards.
Yeah, and I love that. I think
Yeah.
that that's so like special and powerful and can be just, such a really rewarding practice. Like I have a little ancestor altar and I put either people's pictures that have passed or, like the cards that you get, prayer cards, will go in there and I just leave little, like bits of whatever we're eating or what I'm baking or like chocolate and things so that they're just like as an offering and an honoring of the people who are close to me, who I love, who've passed, and also those that I've never met, that go back generations and generations of my bloodline. And I think it's very rewarding. And I'm happy that this, if for nothing else this week with Death Doula brought you to that, I think it's really special.
So yes, I totally agree with that. My thought process when you're saying this is, and this is probably because I'm too logical and rational and like not into the witchery of it, but like, what the hell happens to the food? Like, you put it there and then they don't eat it because they're spirits. They're spirits. They don't have mouths. So then what do you do with the food after when you decide that they're done eating their
I
spirit
throw,
meal?
well, you can't eat it. Like I've told that to like my kids. Because if we put like candy or something in there,
Yes.
like they'll be like, "Well, can I eat this now?" I'm like, "No, we just have to get rid of this now." Like we just
So what do you do with it though? Do you throw it out?
yeah, throw it out.
And
And
like, if it's,
I put something else out first. I switch it.
if it was part of your meal, what do you put, like a little bit of tiny, tiny Thanksgiving?
Good. Yeah, I know Madame Pemita who makes these, who's like very much a witch and makes these amazing candles and spell candles and stuff. She's just awesome. She's wrote a couple of really good books. Like if you're into excuse me, candle magic at all, her book on candle magic is phenomenal. And she
Mm,
talks about like literally doing that. Like she'll leave a little like a little tiny drink and like a little dish of like with all the little bits of whatever she's eating, leaves that out, and then like the next day, gets rid of it and puts something else out. So, I mean, I try to do things that aren't going to be like particularly gooey, just
yeah.
for me personally. But like every time I bake pancakes, I'm like putting a little pancake there because they're freaking delicious. And like, who doesn't want a pancake? So,
Oh, I like that. So maybe I just need a dedicated space to do something like that because it was like a mental, I just had like this little mental block about it. Like, where am I going to put it? What am I going to do with it afterwards? Like the whole like thought of the process of it, like kind of threw me for a loop. And then I was like, you know what? That's what breaking point is. Like, shut the hell up and just do it.
yeah, there don't have to be so many rules. And I think that that's something that like in for myself, identifying as a witch is very much like there aren't any rules for me with that. Like I do what I want. If it feels right, if it feels energetically connected and aligned for me, this is the way that I do it. I don't know if it's right or wrong or whatever. I don't care. I'm just, I'm going with that. I'm following my intuition, you know?
So I got to tell you another little funny part of this whole thing. So I do this offering, and aside from this, my husband and I always set really intense New Year's resolutions. Like we have a whole document every year that we make. It's intense. Like we have our sugar rules are like, okay. So basically what happens is right now for this year, what we decided is we don't eat like sugary things on a regular basis. We have a once a month sugar day. And once a month, you have a sugar time period. It can't be all day long, but it's like, oh, if it's like Thanksgiving, your sugar time period is like post dinner. You get like whatever your chunk of time is after dinner till bed. You can eat whatever sugar things you want. You can have it, whatever. It's complicated.
It's
It
so
works for us.
complicated. Okay, I'm very happy for you. This is great for you.
Complicated is convoluted. You don't need to know the details other than when my husband saw the M&M wrapper, he said, "What the hell is this?"
He was like, "Are you cheating?" Like, no, it's for the ancestors. And he's just like backs away slowly.
Yeah, because I do witchy things really. I was like, you don't need to know the details, just know I didn't eat it. It's caused a lot of stir up in my household.
I do, I don't know. I do kind of want to hear the his take on it. He's funny. I like his little his take on things. So, I mean, if you
Oh,
ever
let me
pony up to ask to tell him about the ancestor offering, like let's see what's his immediate response. I
I
would
think so I showed him what it was and I said, you don't need to know the details of any of this.
Did he say nothing? Did he just say like,
He was like, okay, as long as you didn't eat it.
or he doesn't care? That's so funny. Well, so here's the kind of person that I am, right? So I yesterday or the day before, whatever it was, said there's no way I would ever pair Death Doula and good old grandma. And then you did it, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna try it. So that's what I did today. And my entry, because the way I use 365 Tao is that I go by the whatever day it is. It's today is November 12th when we're filming this. So I go in the back and I find that date in the Northern Hemisphere. And then I find whatever, the book says correlates to that day. So I
I
got
love I love that you do it that way. I really like that we have our opposite ways of doing this book. It makes me really happy for some reason.
me too. Like we're doing it's the same but different.
Yeah.
So I got the topic was rest. And
Ooh.
the little poem at the top says, "This year's end is coming. I feel great contentment. Completion means rest. Rest means renewal. Renewal means new beginnings." And I was like, oh, wow, that's like really nice. after this week with
Yes.
of um of Death Doula. And so I pulled, guess what I pulled? So the bottom of the deck for me with Death Doula was Witnessing Love, which I thought
Ooh,
was
okay.
really pretty, nice, like like I was like, "Oh, I like that." And then like just like from, this experience this week of kind of like reclaiming parts of myself and, with this intention of, loving yourself fully, whole. Um, and then I pulled Unprocessed but Reversed.
Oh my God.
Right?
You have to keep the deck.
Right.
You have to keep the deck.
Right.
Yes. I love that. Oh, that brought a tear to my eye. That made me so
Like, I
happy.
know it just gave me chills all over. I was like, oh my God. And then from grandma, I got False Summit, which when you look at it like very closely, it's actually like a deep well. Like it looks like you could be climbing a mountain, but really you're like going down really deep. And that to me was just like you've done the work. Like there was a lot of stuff that was unprocessed, but like this reversal is like you did it. You've brought the stuff to the surface. You've gone down really deep, or like
Yeah.
gone down really deep and climbed back up. And
Yeah.
like now
And
you have the
it
ability to like witness love. Like it was beautiful.
that's beautiful. I think it also that fall summit also speaks to the cyclical nature of this work, right? With shadow work where you do it and then it expands outward. So you're gonna hit another part of the circle, but it's gonna be different.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
just that this is the nature of you know, being a human being, right? And
Yeah.
working in these cycles. And this was also something, so one of like the extra days that I did with Death Doula was that I did want to go back and pair it with Somnia again because that's kind of like where it started for me with Death Doula. And then I was kind of like, I don't know, are these like is it too masculine because they both have male
Yeah.
creators? And they were making me feel like exposed and vulnerable. But I pulled this like intentionally to be like, let me understand in a deeper way, kind of like what I'm doing here with this deck, the work that I'm doing, these past experiences. Like this was after, both of those like big spreads, let's say, with this deck. And the and this was what I used where it was like the tarot was the meat and potatoes and the oracle was just like a little sprinkle.
Yes.
So I pulled the tarot first, which the bottom of the deck, Insomnia, was Four of Wands, where you have these two figures like facing each other. It felt very much like either me facing parts of myself
Ooh, yeah.
or my past, or even like my spirit guide, because some of that was also part of this that I'm not going to get too much into, but it was like a thing. And then I pulled Death, Temperance, and Nine of Wands.
Yep.
And this just like very much felt like to me like this like deep transformation where things are now like being blended back together, like coming up from the surface and being um like what's the right word for this?
Alchemized.
Yes, alchemized is a perfect word for that. And that like Nine of Wands, like very much to me represents that like state of my nervous system that has existed like ever since that childhood incident where I've done like so much work to regulate my nervous system and to not be in that constant stress responsive state of like being on guard
Yeah.
constantly. Um,
Yep.
and like kind of moving past that now or like more deeply healing that or something. And then the card that I got from Death Doula was Exaltation. And this
Ooh.
card specifically speaks to astrology. Exaltation is a state in which a planet is in a sign where it is exalted and treated like you could basically think about the planets in the houses like if a planet is at home, it's like if you're in your own house, you feel very comfortable, maybe to the point of like not doing all the work that you need to do because you're a little bit lazy, right? Like you just like feel really good there. And then when a planet is in detriment, it's like not in an environment that it really likes. It's challenging and difficult in some way. The planet could be in fall where like it's like would be like if you dropped yourself into someone's home in another country where they don't even speak your language and you're like, oh, like what am I doing here? Who are these people? And they're being mean to me and I don't know why. And so when a planet's exalted, it's like visiting a place where it's treated like a queen or a king. They're so happy they give them gifts. It's like the best thing ever. It's like sandals resort, right?
Yep.
And so this to me was just like now you are moving into a place and a state and a different environment in which you can like really shine and be in that exaltation. And I thought that that was like a nice confirmation of the difficult parts of the week. And then like the last reading with Grandma and Death Doula and 365 Dow just like brought all that home for me. So
Yeah.
overall, it was like a very powerful experience, but it was not without some pain and suffering.
Yeah, it feels like it very much wrapped everything up with a bow and made this feel like a really heavy week that like it came full circle for you, which is good because it could have like brought you out to the middle of nowhere and just left you there.
Yes, and I was afraid that that's what was happening.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, all right, I don't know about this. So there are red flags. This is a toxic relationship. I was very much feeling like I don't know. I don't know if this is healthy for me to stay in.
Yeah, yeah, that I feel like that's a totally reasonable thought to have when you're in the middle of the work with this deck.
Yeah, so it was definitely like that is a very apt description. I was in a week of work with this deck. Would I
Yeah.
recommend that someone do a week with this deck? Like, I don't know if you're up for it, but maybe with a warning label or like with the caveat that no, that it could be an intense thing.
Yeah. Would you repeat that?
Like willingly?
Like how do you see yourself working with this now that you've had this experience with it?
I don't quite know. I think
Ooh.
that I would, all right, my answer for that right now is that I would only pull one card and I would sit and meditate on the imagery of that card and see what it brings up for me. Like I would try to kind of immerse myself in the visualization in a meditative state of what the card is communicating, um, very intentionally and not be kind of like willy-nilly pulling it, pairing it with tarot. Like it just,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that if I were to keep it, that's exactly what I would do too, because I think that there's a lot of value in this guidebook
yeah.
and those exercises that it has, they feel wise.
Yeah.
They feel like they really are crafted to get you through whatever it is that you're experiencing when you pull that card. And I think that a one card pull is a really good strategy for this. I don't necessarily agree with the creator's view to pull three cards. When you have the interplay between the three cards and then you're pulling these different exercises, it's hard to kind of mix them all together to get a cohesive follow up to whatever it is that you've learned.
Yeah, it makes it way more complicated.
Yeah, yeah. And I do wish that the spread, I'm always finding something to complain about, but I do wish that this
Which
whole
I
see.
which by the way, I love and appreciate about you so much.
You do? Okay,
I
good.
do. I really do. I'm like, yeah, like show where are it's constructive criticism.
Yeah, I think that this whole see page 44 thing, it kind of takes you out of it because then you're like, okay, like I'm ready, I'm reading the thing. And then it's like, okay, find something else. And I think that it could have been just even if there's repetition between the cards, like let's say that two different cards use the same healing thing over here, just like putting it right here where it is when you look the card up, I think would have been helpful. Um, Rather than having it be like a split guidebook kind of.
Yeah, it is an interesting way that that's set up.
Yeah. So production quality wise, I really enjoy the decisions that were made. Gilding the back. I think that this card, he had mentioned like how much he loved it. The chances of him being able to get this photo were like very, very slim. So I love that that's on the guidebook. Box, like I think that everything about production wise is great.
What about the size of the cards?
Ooh, so because there are so few cards compared to a tarot deck, I think that even though I think this is 5.75, which is my size that I start complaining about, but I can still fit about my hands around them. So, and the cardstock is thin, so I'm able to ripple it. So while ideally cardstock would be smaller than this, I'm not going to bitch about it too much.
Can you overhand shuffle it?
It's stretch, like it's a stretch.
Do you do it vertically?
No, I hate doing it that way.
I thought you
I
felt like
hate
a cool
this.
kid doing that.
What?
I thought that that was the cool kid.
Yeah, I'm not cool though.
Okay, because I kept being like, oh my God, I hate doing this.
No, I don't like that at all. I won't do that. I would rather stretch my hands and be mad about it than do it this way. Yeah.
It's very unstable. Like they're falling all over. I'm like, how do people do this?
I don't know. Yeah, that was the other thing is like, am I just not cool enough for this? I don't know. I think I'm not cool.
I don't know. This is definitely the Regina George of Oracle decks.
That's funny. Oh my goodness.
Well, that's where that quote's from. The raise your hand if you've ever been personally victimized by
Full
right,
circle moment.
here we are. It always comes back to Mean Girls.
That is the ugliest effing skirt I've ever seen.
Which doesn't even go here.
Oh, okay. So it sounds like you're keeping it. I'm gonna move it on. I mean, maybe I should try a little harder. I don't know.
I kind of feel like I kind of want to, a loose rule for myself about like, unless it is a very clear no, like I'm like, I don't want this, I want it out of my house. Then I'm like, I'm gonna hold on to it for maybe, I don't know, a year. Seems like a really long
Oh
time.
my, no.
I know that you are anti this, but like full, I want to go through all the seasons because maybe it's just not the season for this deck.
I agree with that. I will
You know?
say the seasonality is important. And I think that this to me feels wintry.
So I just kind of feel like if it's been a year and I'm not using it, like move it along.
That is now that you have your new cabinet though, I feel like you can do that. Like just put them on the bottom shelf and tuck
Exactly.
them away and see how
Yeah,
you feel.
that's the plan.
I am so excited about your reorganization series. So how far are you in real life right now?
Oh, just as far as you've actually seen, like I haven't started. The next step will be to pull everything out. And that's like a mess.
Yeah,
So I'm probably going to do that tomorrow.
that's gonna be so much fun.
Okay.
Bye. See you next week.
Hold on. Let me get myself together.
What are we doing next week? We're doing Little Bird. Chirp,
And let me
chirp.
just say, like, thank God for you want to talk about how we needed Discovering Beauty after Mary L. I feel like Little Bird after this, I was already thinking about it. I'm like, I am just so excited to have a week with Little Bird where I can just read the guidebook and have it be like this field guide of just amazingness and just like let me see
Chirp,
what
chirp.
the birds, yeah, chirp, chirp. Let me see what the birds have to say. I'm just so like,
Let me
yes.
get you in my little nest. Yeah, chirp, chirp.
Yeah, we're out of the descent of Samhain Halloween season. Let's
Yeah,
like move into love and gratitude of Thanksgiving time.
yeah. We want to be in like a cushy
Yeah,
comfort
comfy.
place.
Yeah, totally comfy decks. Comfy decks.
And I think that I'm gonna, if you don't mind, we start posting on Fridays. Is that okay with you?
Whatever.
Okay, cool.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I did share a lot in this. Like, I hope that it was helpful in some way for me to do that. You know, you always worry or wonder how people are going to take things. Um, so yeah, let us know in the comments what you thought, what your experiences with Death Doula, and see you next week.
Thanks, Erin. All right, talk to you later. Signing out.